And I was kind of going through a period that I was having a struggle with hopelessness.
Malcolm Jamal Warner spoke in that interview with a weight that froze the room. His gaze cut straight through the camera, locking onto anyone watching like he was delivering a message meant only for them. Behind that short statement, there was something deeper, something he'd been holding back. At 77, Phylicia Rashad stunned everyone when she stepped forward with trembling words that hit like lightning. She wasn't just talking about a co-star. This was her little brother, Theo, from The Cosby Show. Malcolm had been carrying the quiet struggle of a rare neurological illness, all while rumors swirled and outside pressure kept stacking up. Their time together was slipping, and the tension was impossible to ignore. Strange signs, whispered conflicts, and unanswered questions turned their story into one of Hollywood's most mysterious bonds. Are you ready to uncover what was really hidden behind that familiar smile? Stay tuned until the end, and don't forget to like and subscribe, because the truth about Phylicia Rashad and Malcolm Jamal Warner's unshakable connection is finally spilling out. If you ever watched The Cosby Show back in the 80s, you'll never forget the sharp yet caring gaze of Claire Huxtable whenever Theo messed up on screen. But what nobody realized was how that mother-son bond stretched far beyond the cameras, transforming into something real, powerful, and lasting. Something no script could ever capture. At 77, when Phylicia Rashad finally opened up about Malcolm Jamal Warner, fans felt the weight of more than 40 years of a bond that was deeper than TV magic. Her words carried the heartbreak of a mother speaking about her son, because that's what Malcolm had truly become to her. Their connection sparked in 1984 when 14-year-old Malcolm stepped into the role of Theo Huxtable. Phylicia, already a respected actress, instantly felt it, like fate had placed them side by side. Malcolm once admitted he never saw it as an audition at all. He said it was like talking to a mother he already knew. And Phylicia confirmed it. After just a few lines, she knew this boy was hers, not just on screen, but in spirit. Through 8 unforgettable seasons, the Huxtable home wasn't just a set. It was where they grew, laughed, and carried each other through life's storms. Viewers saw Malcolm shift from a shy teen into a confident young man right before their eyes. But behind the scenes, it was Phylicia guiding him every step of the way. She showed him how to survive the spotlight, how to keep his spark alive even on exhausting days, and most of all, how to resist Hollywood's darker temptations. In a 2018 interview, Malcolm admitted, without her, he would have made choices that could have destroyed everything he'd built. When fame hit too fast, Malcolm started taking roles that didn't fit him, just to keep his name shining. One night, Phylicia called him, her voice sharp but loving. You don't have to be everywhere to be remembered. What matters is that you show up in the right place, Malcolm later admitted. That advice flipped everything. It saved him from the crash and burn path so many young stars can't escape. She wasn't just his career mentor. She was his safe place. When Malcolm lost his biological father in the late 1990s, Phylicia was there first. Not with empty words, but with warm meals and endless patience for his silence. On his 40th birthday, she even wrote a handwritten letter saying, "You are not just the child who once stood in front of the camera with your mother. You are living proof that love and respect can create a family beyond." Blood industry insiders nicknamed them the real-life Huxtables because their bond was that undeniable. After The Cosby Show wrapped in 1992, most of the cast drifted apart, but not them. Malcolm and Phylicia spoke nearly every week. Even when he was buried in music or chasing film roles, she'd mail him books with notes like, "Read this when you need balance." And he admitted he kept a special drawer just for her gifts. Whenever the pressure got heavy, opening that drawer felt like stepping back into his teenage years, reminding him of who he really was. By the time he hit 50, their bond was unshakable. They could go months without talking, then pick up like no time had passed. She still called him son, and he still called her mom. A bond stronger than any script could ever write. In Malcolm's final months, Phylicia could feel something shifting, even when she was swamped with work. His calls grew shorter, his voice carried a tired edge, and a quiet distance slipped in between them. She asked him straight up, "Are you okay?" And all he gave back was, "I'm fine, Mom." But deep down, her instincts told her otherwise. She tried to respect his space, and that choice became her deepest regret. Just 2 weeks before he was gone, Malcolm called simply to hear his mom's voice. They talked for over an hour, laughing about backstage chaos from the Cosby Show and sharing old memories. When they hung up, Phylicia never guessed it would be their last real conversation. Looking back, she swears his laughter held something faint, almost like a hidden goodbye. Their closeness wasn't just about love. It was about purpose. Both believed art should lift the community, and Malcolm often teamed up with her on stage projects and youth education programs. She always let him lead, but if she saw him slipping, she didn't hesitate to pull him back. "A good mother doesn't always agree with you," she once said, "but she's always there when you need to return." That's why when Phylicia finally opened up about Malcolm, the world stopped to listen. Her words weren't gossip. They were truth from someone who walked with him from his teen years into adulthood. Their bond wasn't scripted. It was a spiritual connection that defined them both. For everyone who once watched Claire Huxtable and Theo on screen, it's clear now what looked like TV family was the real thing. An irreplaceable bond that shaped their lives, their choices, and their legacy together. Looking back, the signs were hiding in plain sight. For Malcolm Jamal Warner, his final months played out like scattered pieces of a puzzle. Quiet lifestyle changes, cryptic words, and subtle actions that only make sense now. Known by friends as pure energy, loud laughs, endless music, and constant public appearances, suddenly Malcolm began pulling away. Social outings grew rare, tours were postponed without reason, and his once active social media slowed to a trickle. Instead of steady updates, there were only short, reflective posts that felt heavier than usual. And when he did show up, the shift was undeniable. People at a private event whispered he looked thinner. His eyes carried a faraway stare, and that famous smile felt different, like it was hiding something. Even at the Cosby Show reunion, Phylicia Rashad sensed it. He gave her a fleeting smile, then slipped into silence, leaving her with an unease she only recognized later. What shakes people most today are his words, statements that now sound like personal prophecies. In his final weeks, Malcolm posted on Instagram, "Life is a delicate balance between holding on and letting go. We prepare for tomorrow by living fully today." At first, fans saw it as wisdom, but after, many read it as a coded farewell. Close friends revealed he even sent private texts that carried the same cryptic tone, messages that only now feel like pieces of a goodbye nobody wanted to see at the time. One close friend remembered Malcolm writing, "I wish I had more time to say goodbye." Another recalled him saying, "Maybe this way is better." At the time, nobody fully grasped the meaning, but now those words feel loaded, like he was bracing himself for something final. His actions told the same story. Quietly, he began doing things people only do when facing uncertain futures, updating his will, discussing guardianship for his child, even sketching out plans for a simple memorial. This was nothing like the carefree Malcolm his friends knew. A source said it felt as if he wanted everything in its place one last time. In those weeks, Malcolm spent more time at Watt Creek, a childhood refuge near his home where he always found peace. Locals spotted him walking the banks again and again, sometimes on the phone, sometimes just staring at the flowing water. He often quoted sayings about rivers and tides, but in hindsight, those words carried a haunting new weight. Piece by piece, the signs added up. His withdrawal, the cryptic notes, the careful preparations, the hours by the water. It was like he left behind a trail of quiet clues, only visible once the chapter had already closed. And then came Phylicia Rashad's revelation. At 77, during what was supposed to be an ordinary interview, she shattered the silence. Her voice was slow, deep, and deliberate. Her eyes, filled with sadness, but steady, showed she was carrying a truth she'd protected for years. She began recalling their last conversations without hesitation. And with every word, it felt like she was opening a door that could never be closed again. Phylicia said it straight. Malcolm knew his time was running out. The interviewer froze, and what came next felt like fog lifting to reveal a hidden storm. In his last weeks, Malcolm had confessed to her about feeling a shadow growing longer, a metaphor for something draining both his body and spirit. At first, she thought it was just a passing mood, but then came the truth. Malcolm had been diagnosed with a rare neurological condition only months earlier. He never wanted pity. He wanted to be remembered for his art, his love, and his laughter, not the battle he kept locked away. That was why he guarded the diagnosis so fiercely, even from parts of his family. Only a handful of close friends, including Phylicia, knew the truth. The illness was quietly robbing him of his motor skills, clouding his memory, and weighing on his mind. But then Phylicia added another shocking layer. Beyond the illness, Malcolm was carrying pressure from something external, real and unsettling. She wouldn't name it, but the vagueness only ignited speculation. Was it a threat, a powerful force, or a silent war inside the entertainment industry? She then revealed their last phone call, just 2 days before his passing. His voice was calm, steady, almost rehearsed. He spoke about unfinished work, about wanting people to remember him, not just Theo Huxtable. Then came the line that shattered her heart. "If this is the end, Mom, I want my story told in full." She clutched the phone, helpless, praying he was just being dark. But deep down, she knew it was his farewell. Looking back, every cryptic post, every quiet move, every distant look finally made sense. He had chosen silence, confiding only in her, his final act of trust. Phylicia also shared a message he left behind. Strength isn't always in the winning. It's in continuing to move forward when no one sees you. Those words broke her silence. She felt his story had to be told, no matter the fallout. By the end of the interview, the air was so heavy you could hear a heartbeat. Phylicia hadn't just revealed a secret, she had rewritten the narrative of Malcolm's final chapter. If Phylicia Rashad's revelations showed Malcolm Jamal Warner battling hidden struggles, then what happened in his final hours felt straight out of a Hollywood thriller. A quiet gathering meant to honor mental health awareness turned into something far darker. This wasn't a press reunion, nor a public event. It was a private tribute Malcolm himself had been developing, with only a handful of trusted faces invited. Yet inside that room, the atmosphere grew heavy, fast. Witnesses say Phylicia, usually poised, suddenly pulled Tempest Bledsoe, Vanessa Huxtable on screen, aside. Her voice cut cold. "Did you think the secret would stay buried forever? You're going to pay dearly." No one knew exactly what she meant, but the tension was explosive. Within minutes, words spiraled into a heated confrontation. Rumors say this wasn't new. Long-standing friction between Phylicia and Tempest had been brewing for years. Whispers of disputes over money, creative control, and even shadowy moves around Malcolm's projects. Some claimed Tempest once tried to interfere with his passion project, Behind the Sitcom Smile, a documentary where he allegedly planned to expose the darker truths behind the show's polished image. The breaking point came when Malcolm, usually the peacemaker, stepped in. Instead of calming them down, he stunned everyone with one chilling line. "We've been lying to ourselves for decades. This isn't a family. This is a cover-up." The words sliced through the air, tearing at the carefully crafted image the cast had upheld for years. Not long after, some guests slipped out, small groups huddled in whispers, and Malcolm himself walked quietly into the night. Hours later, he was discovered at his private lake property, with officials pointing to drowning. But given the timing, the confrontation, the cryptic words, the public has been left asking, was this just coincidence, or is there something more hiding in the shadows? The tension only grew when leaks revealed Malcolm and Tempest had been clashing over licensing and royalties in recent months. Documents surfaced showing Tempest listed as a limited co-executor in some of Malcolm's financial decisions, sparking questions about money, power, and transparency. Then came the mystery that blew everything wide open: the missing data from behind the sitcom Smile. Just 2 days after Malcolm's passing, All hard drives, cameras, and post-production materials for the project were stolen in a suspicious break-in. Nothing else was touched. Only the documentary files vanished. That fueled talk that someone didn't want Malcolm's truth to ever see the light of day. Those at the tribute remembered his mood that night, his eyes dark, his energy quiet. Friends recalled him muttering one chilling phrase, "Not again." What he meant still hangs like a shadow, another puzzle piece no one has solved. What started as a heartfelt mental health tribute twisted into a storm of suspicion, not just about what happened to Malcolm, but about the tangled relationships, money trails, and buried secrets surrounding him. And when this lines up with Phylicia Rashad's account, the story no longer feels like a tragic accident. It feels like the last act of a drama years in the making. The news of Malcolm Jamal Warner being found unconscious near his private lake in California hit like a thunderclap. Police were quick to call it an accidental drowning, but for those who knew the events hours before, that explanation never erased doubt. It only raised more questions. The first red flag? His location. That weekend, Malcolm was supposed to be in Santa Barbara with close friends. Instead, he wound up at a property in Big Bear, more than 160 kilometers away. No warning, no explanation, just a short text to a colleague. Got something to take care of. That was less than 12 hours before he was found. Police noted no signs of a struggle, but locals swore they saw strange lights and heard unusual noises near midnight. To this day, the sudden detour, the cryptic text, and the stolen files remain a chain of mysteries that no official report has untangled. The autopsy was wrapped up in under 48 hours, shockingly fast compared to other cases. Toxicology reports, which could have shown if Malcolm had any substances in his system, were never made public. Instead of easing suspicions, the silence only fueled them. Even stranger, right after his body was taken to the morgue, someone reportedly pushed for an immediate cremation. His mother, Pamela Warner, refused, insisting he be preserved for further review. But the rush alone sent chills through everyone following the case. Then came the bombshell. Phone records revealed the final text Malcolm ever received was from Tempest Bledsoe on the very night of the incident. The content has never been revealed, and Tempest went completely silent, canceling appearances and wiping parts of her social media. For fans, that silence became a storm cloud hanging over everything. The strange details didn't stop there. A security guard claimed the surveillance system at the lake coincidentally went down during the key time window. A neighbor swore they saw a black SUV leaving the property minutes before police arrived. No license plate recorded. Too many gaps, too many coincidences. And then came whispers of a voicemail Malcolm allegedly left for a close friend. "If anything happens to me, let the world know I was silenced." That chilling line only deepened the mystery. Taken together, these fragments don't form a clean picture. They form a puzzle full of missing pieces, a rushed autopsy, vanished footage, unanswered texts, and unexplained movements all point to something bigger than an accident. For many, Malcolm's story didn't end the night he was found. It became a haunting tale of secrets, silence, and questions the official file never answered. The story didn't end with Malcolm. It lives on in memories, suspicions, and questions that refuse to fade. Every new detail uncovered, or truth withheld, only makes the haunting question louder. What really happened? Looking back at the warnings, the tension, and the cryptic signs, people wonder, was it fate or a carefully staged ending? The passing of Malcolm Jamal Warner didn't just close a chapter, it lit a firestorm. Fans, colleagues, and even people who only knew him through the screen flooded social media with shock, anger, and grief. Within hours, hashtags like #JusticeForMalcolm and #RememberTheo trended worldwide, paired with throwback clips of Theo Huxtable, the funny, lovable son etched into millions of hearts. His colleagues, from co-stars to music collaborators, poured out tributes. They praised not just his talent, but his heart. One director who worked with him wrote, "Some people leave the set and leave the work behind, but Malcolm always left his heart there." Those words captured the man fans thought they knew, but whose final days revealed a storm no one expected. And while many stayed silent, Phylicia Rashad turned grief into action. Refusing to let Malcolm's struggle be forgotten, she launched the Inside Voice Project, a campaign focused on mental health awareness, especially for Black men in entertainment. Malcolm fought in silence. "I don't want anyone else to go through that alone," she declared. Within weeks, the project gained traction. Artists, activists, and health organizations rallying behind it. What began as one woman's heartbreak is already becoming a powerful movement, breaking stigma, demanding honesty, and shining a light where silence once ruled. A special television tribute is now in production to honor Malcolm. Not just a highlight reel of his brightest moments, but a deeper portrait of the man himself. A father, a friend, and a quiet fighter against battles most never knew. Exclusive interviews, unseen behind-the-scenes footage, and raw testimonies from those closest to him promise to reveal the Malcolm beyond the familiar smile and sharp wit. Fans across the country have also created their own memorials, from New York to LA to Chicago, gathering to rewatch favorite episodes, light candles, and share stories of how Malcolm touched their lives. Simple gestures, but powerful ones, proving he still connects people the way he always did on screen. Malcolm's legacy isn't just his awards or roles, it's his message about silent strength, about daring to live true, and about paying attention when someone close to you begins to change. His choice to keep his illness hidden now stands as a reminder. Never assume silence means someone is okay. For those who grew up loving Theo Huxtable, Malcolm's face will forever live on. Not just as a TV son, but as a symbol of courage, kindness, and resilience. When the stage lights fade and the screen goes dark, what remains isn't the unanswered mysteries. It's a living legacy that demands we listen closer, care deeper, and never let quiet battles go unseen. So tell me, what do you think? Should his truth have been revealed sooner, or was silence his final act of strength? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit like to show your support, and don't forget to subscribe with notifications on, because the next story we uncover might just be the one no one else dares to tell.